You know what? I'm gonna try and change it. I'm gonna go to it. There we go. There we go. Wouldn't come apart. Oh. Hey, welcome to the Dutchman's Wood Shack. Okay, today I'm going to do a really quick version of what I've been working on. Well, one of the things I've been working on. Okay, so this this is a snowman I made out of arborvitae log, piece of wood. All right, now the one thing that's hard to deal with on these is they're porous and they like to rip, like you're peeling an orange or banana, kind of the same way with this wood. So if you ever turn them, just be careful with it. They are turnable. They've got some great color in them. As you can see, a little bit of red in there. Okay, today what I want to show you real quick is, now this is a piece of red oak and a lot of imperfections in it, but that's the way I like it. So there was a hole here and I used Gorilla Glue to clear it up, fill in the hole, because it dries pretty good. And I've never had an issue with it. Now there's a hole here, but I want that there. That's part of the rustic character of the wood. So now what I'm going to do, normally I use this stuff. I don't know if you guys use this, but that's kind of what I use. But today I'm going to use General Finishes. Now I've kind of shaken this up a little bit, but one thing I could recommend is, even if you shake it up a little bit, the one thing that's a constant with some of this stuff is the particles in the bottom of this, since it's oil-based, like to sit at the bottom like a gel. So you want to use a stir stick with it. I have a fresh supply of stir sticks. Stir, stir, stir. So I try to get it to where it's, you get the bottom stuff. And stir it for a good, and go back and forth with it a couple of times. You want to get it to, because the stuff, like I say, it settles to the bottom. All right. It settles to the bottom. Okay, so now they got a little. What I'm going to do here is, I like to brush this stuff on. Now, what I'll do, usually the first coat, it takes a little bit of doing, soaks it up, and that's what you want. But you don't want to put on too much. So I'm not worried about what it looks like the first coat. Since, let me make sure I got this. Gotta ignore my sound machine. Since I'm gonna do bark, what I'm doing here is I want to use paintbrush. But here's the other thing. You don't want to stick in here when you're using bark, when you're doing bark. So the idea here is, I don't care if I get that stuff on here. Of course, I'm a klutz. So, anyway. And I'll go back and clean it up later. So, now, one of the things I like to do, is I always tell people when you do this, make sure that you start with the flat stuff first, because you want to do this last. It'll pull in any particles of the bark. Now this is crazy turning stuff that I've done. Oh, hang on a second. I want to make sure that I got it all off. Couple of things you want to do. If you ever do bark bowls, this is what you're covering your CYA, your butt with. All right. Once you finish and you finish sanding everything, go around and check everything. Now I like to take my air hose and go through all the cracks. All right. There is some moss in here, so a lot of times when I do these, they have a little bit of green moss. Depending on what finishes you use, it really brings out the grain. So hopefully this will come out good. Good. Now the imperfections in here too, make sure you blow out all the stuff, get it out. Now the second thing is take a rag like this and wipe it off inside and out. I use tack cloth, and then I take this and I go over it. You'd be surprised, sometimes there's still dust on here. It's a really thin film. Then if you're doing shows like me, make sure you bring a pair of gloves like these with you so you don't stick them all over your because your fingers, your body sweats, your body oils do leave prints. So it's always good to have some of these or a cloth. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the bottom. I'm going to start it inside and get some of this. This should be a good bowl. I love this, the uniqueness of stuff like this. The one thing you don't want to do is you can see it soaking it up. You see it start soaking it up real fast. I thought about using sanding sealer on this, but I don't know what the reaction would be with the bark. So I might do it with another bowl that doesn't have bark on it. Bark bowls are in particular, I've done a few different kinds. The ones I like to do the most in bark bowls is the birch. So I call them the 3Bs, birch bark bowls. Now there's nothing fancy about this. Okay, so when people, it's not like a Cindy Drew's or a Kelly Dunn type of thing. It's just something I like to do. And I'll be selling these next month actually at a art show in Batavia, Illinois. So hopefully come on out and talk with me and I can show you the tricks of the trade. Okay, so now I've got that. Now the idea is what I'm doing here. I'm not doing the bark yet because I don't want to get debris on the smooth stuff. So what I'm doing is just basically doing this first. Does breeze, Now there is a lot of moisture in this down here in the basement where I'm at. There's a couple of things that I have going on that normally you probably wouldn't be seeing too much of anywhere else is one is it's not really, I say it's dust free, but I've got the machine running over here, my air purifier, and the moisture content here is very high. So again, it's gonna it probably take a little bit of time to dry. So what I usually do is I take and put it in my kiln down there. I got a pretty simple kiln, nothing really to it. Now, I pretty much have done this. You don't want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the kiln and let it dry overnight. You can do it in 6 hours probably, but I choose not to because it's very humid down here and cold. It's probably 50, 60 degrees. And I don't want to mess with it. It takes a lot longer for this stuff to dry in this kind of environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go this way, show you. Okay, so this is my kiln. It's pretty simple. I've had this thing for years. Okay, so I got another piece of wood I was drying out there. I got a stand in here, and then where's the plug in the light? Okay, so now this thing is not, it's set off to one side. So, yeah, I better keep, what I do now is I let it set. I have this light on there, works great. And I leave it open a little bit. There's enough room to let it breathe so it doesn't get too hot, and it'll work. Once I let it sit there for, I don't know, I'll check it on and off. Just leave it. I've got a timer for this too. I can do. I usually, I usually come in up and down. This is a piece of wood from Hawaii. I brought this back. A guy up in Kona had it. It's called a gourd. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with it, but it's been in there, just sitting, because that's actually comes from a humid area. So you got to be careful when you get wood from places like that. Is it kiln dried or not? That obviously it's not. So I got to be careful with that. I don't know. I have to take and seal the ends with anchor seal. I haven't gotten that far yet. So okay, we'll back over here again. So now this one here, this is another piece. Now I was gonna use that on there. Again, the same technique. You want to put, after I done that, you want to put something on here that's gonna make it look good. So I want this natural look. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this same idea. Now, I'm not looking for perfection in this because I want it to look rustic. What'll happen is when I'm done with this, I'll have somebody take and put the eyeballs and a little bit of a what do you call it? Well, it's a scarf, but they'll put like ribbon in here to make it look really good. Now, people would ask me, why are you doing these in this time of year? Well, normally I don't, but one of my neighbors cut their bushes down. And I go, wouldn't it be cool? And this is me, okay? Wouldn't it be cool to make something out of your own wood? So basically, and I do this, okay? So I recycle. I like to do recycle stuff. So I have lots of exotic wood in here, by the way. The thing is, it costs a lot of money for that stuff, and nobody really around here doesn't buys it. So I kind of either I'm making it for myself or somebody that might want it. I did trying to sell this stuff like coal wood or a monkey pot or something in a art show around here is next to impossible. You don't spend more. Nobody spends more than $25. Well, the wood's at least $35-$40. So, I mean that's the thing about woodworking. It's not cheap. So, anyway, that'll finish off nice. Now that's just one coat. This one here is a different kind of wood. That's like I said, this is arborvitae wood. So it might take a little bit longer to soak in because of the way the wood is, the growth. The grain goes like this, and what happens is some of this, because it's like a banana peel, might take a little bit longer to soak in. That oak wood is dense, and it takes a little bit longer, but it's peeling, it's soaking it right now as we were talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back in the kiln. You guys want to, and I'll be right back. Doesn't matter. I'm getting too old for this. Okay, so one thing I'll tell you, you must do. All this stuff, it's all oil based, it's flammable. So what you need to do is this. Okay, so it's a metal can. It doesn't cost very much to get at the store. And you put your waste elements in there. And then when it comes trash day, they have a recycler. You put them in a bag and you send them, or you get rid of them. You never want to leave this kind of stuff laying around. It's a good way to start a fire. And I'm an ex-fireman, so if I don't do it right, and I also have a fire extinguisher. Always safety first in the shop. Remember, all right. Whether you're using this or you're doing any kind of finish work, make sure that you carry one of these and get the right one too. Because here's another thing. It's like a grease fire. You use these. You gotta make sure that you use them, and it's compatible with certain types of fire, because if you try to never spread water on any kind of flammable liquid, because what'll happen is it'll spread it. Okay, so now here I want to show you guys something too. This stuff is what I usually use, but it's not working. I'm kind of disappointed it didn't last very long. So I've been buying the quart cans. Okay, or the quart cans, I mean the pint cans. It's better to use those, to get 2 of those, than it is the 1 of the quart cans, because unless you use it all the time, you'll waste it. And it'll end up being gel like this. So I got 3 cans over here. I got 3 things I got to push that are wasted. Paint and stain and varnish do not last long. You'd be better off buying the smaller cans and using it more often than other stuff, because even if it's just wall paint and stuff, get rid of it. It changes in time. After a year, your wall will start fading. The paint gets old. If you're gonna try and patch it, it's next to impossible. You can, but eventually you'll see it. So I'll do a whole episode on finishes and what to do and what not to do. With that note, happy Easter, and I hope you enjoy a little bit of my show. God bless. Stick around. I'll be doing more in the future. So hopefully next week I'll be doing some other stuff, not just turning. I'll be doing maybe I'll make some birdhouses. So it's that time of year. Yeah, my fingers are kind of